Today's show is proudly sponsored by Rio, the premium activewear brand that's dedicated to making you feel your very best and your most authentic self. Use code INTUNE10 for 10% off your order today. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Intune podcast, where we discuss the music that makes us mindful. Today's guest I've had the absolute pleasure of playing a show with recently, and he blew me away with his aesthetic, his vocals, his music. He is truly a one-of-a-kind artist, Mr. Rico Del Oro.
I am forever changing. I don't mind rearranging. You've got to crawl before you walk. Routines I never bother, 'cause my mind can change by the hour, and I can live without a clock. Oh, don't you worry about me. Oh, 'cause I'm right where I should be. I'm doing just fine. Gonna paint my walls with my own design. Don't rush me, 'cause
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You always, I had to dress up today because I knew you were going to come dressed to the nines. I was just like, he's going to come in here and show out for everyone. So I was like, I have to put on the most intricate thing I have.
Well, you did a great job. I was like, her podcast is going to take off soon. I'm going to have to show out as well. So
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I know the moment that I found out that we were playing a show. We played a show in Virginia. It was a sold out show at the Barns at Wolf Trap. Such a good time. I had a blast. But when I saw originally who was playing with us, and the artists are amazing. We already had Maddie on here last week, and she is amazing. But I saw your style immediately, caught me, and I was like, who is this man? Who is this man? And I absolutely loved it, because when I met you, you were like, yeah, my music is Tex-Mex. And I was like, what could that possibly sound like? And I looked you up, and you have the most unique, beautiful, haunting sound. I'm obsessed with it. I've been listening to it ever since. And do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into that, and how you came upon the style that you are really just absolutely living in?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, I just feel like I had kind of a connection to cowboy / vaquero culture since I was young, because my family is from Mexico. My mom's from the city, but my dad's from a small ranch town in Durango. It's called San Juan de Guadalupe. And they live the ranch life over there. They have animals and stuff, and they all work together to make the town go around. And it was just super influential to me just to go over there and visit and see the way that they live, even though I didn't live there personally. But it's just seeing that really stuck with me ever since I was a kid. And, obviously I lived in the States. I grew up in Texas, but even in Texas, you kind of grow up a little bit around cowboy culture, but it is different. And I feel like that difference in the States, it didn't really speak to me as much. But as I got older, I was like, you know what, this is this is something that really is crucial to the person that I am. So I started just kind of delving more into country music. One of my favorite artists is Orville Peck, and he does a great job of just presenting himself in such a aesthetically pleasing way. And his sound is beautiful. His voice is beautiful.
Also very haunting. I love him as well. When I came across him, I was like, stop it right now. It's so unique. So cool. But you have a very different vibe to him, but very much in the same kind of, I would put you probably in the same genre, but very cool. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, he's awesome. And honestly, thanks to him, I was able to kind of delve more into the history of country, of what where it comes from. I think nowadays there's kind of almost a bad taste in people's mouth when it comes to country. Like they hear country and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like only just this one thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's only about trucks and
yeah,
girls.
yeah.
And
You know, I mean, I guess there might be a place for that for certain people. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge, but you know, there's just so many beautiful stories that come from country music and country artists, because
yeah.
I think the genre originally started as like a way to express you know, struggle, you know, within like, you know, people that are maybe struggling with, you know, trying to get by, and you know,
Yeah, just your average like American person who is working hard and
Exactly.
has like a real
Yeah.
people job, and like it's not like glamorous. It's just
Right.
telling the truth and telling the story, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's absolutely true. That's awesome. Yeah, I know too. Like Texas music, Texas country has really been making such a big breakthrough in the last couple of years, and I think that really truly it's bringing back a lot of that. It's bringing a lot of culture with it, but it's also bringing a lot of storytelling back into it. And there, like you said, there's nothing wrong with like the, you know, she thinks my tractor's sexy, things like that. Those are so much fun. They make people feel good, things like that. That there's always a place for that. But like country music started, like you said, with these like stories and these really heartfelt moments, and I think Texas country's kind of come in and been like, hey, we still have this, you know.
Yes.
So it's very interesting, but it very much is, you know, from there, but now people are picking up on it here, and that's kind of where the writing is going, I'm noticing in Nashville. So loving that.
Yeah,
for sure.
me too, and you know, just being around so many talented people here that are in that same genre, it's like so
Yeah.
inspiring.
That's accurate. That's very accurate. Have you worked with anybody recently that you're just like, oh my God, I loved working with this person, and I love to co-write, or I love to like work with this producer specifically?
So there's so many talented people that I'd love to work with that I haven't met yet here in town. But I've been working with a fantastic team of incredible musicians, and they all do their own thing, right? But like whenever we get together to, you know, work together on my project, it's really inspiring. Especially there is an artist that I've written with, and his name is Zachary Scott Klein, and we wrote a couple of songs together, and which are going to be in my next album.
Yes.
And it's really great to because he's also kind of I mean, some people have called my music like in the Americana genre, and he kind of does the same thing, but we have like very different styles. So
Yeah.
getting to sit down with him and write and like have our styles kind of like, you know, fused together is really interesting, and I learned a lot from that. But then also, like, you know, when we played that show together, it was also very inspiring because we were all very different.
Yeah,
and,
so very different.
yeah, but it was a good thing. I feel
Yeah.
like I learned a lot from y'all, and like, you know,
Yeah.
I'd love to, you know, work with every single person that was on that trip. you
Yeah,
know?
likewise, honestly. It was super cool that whole trip to even see. I texted my one friend, I was like, it's so cool to see everybody's like pre-show rituals in the green room, and we were all like very different. We were all like, you know, some of us were just like talking. That was me. Hi. Some people were just super like internalizing everything and taking a minute, and then like some people were just like would just like disappear. We were like, are they even gonna play the show? What's happening? So it's so funny because like even just like down to the music, but also in just like every little thing, everyone was so different. And I feel like learning how people, you know, are like that is so cool. And in that specific experience, doing almost like a writer's round with people so very different, but traveling, I think I'm so used to constantly seeing everybody's pre-show things that are a part of my team and like a part of my band and a part of all these things. It was cool to see everybody's like different vibes and their specific style. So that, and like you said, like you learn so much by just like taking a step out and being like, hey, this might be out of my comfort zone to do, but I really want to work with this person who maybe has nothing to do with my genre or like has never produced something in this, you know, wave of music that I play, things like that. Just like beautiful things come about it no matter what. So it was such a cool thing. Such a cool thing.
Agreed.
So you grew up in Texas.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then I know that I I love this story. So you are fairly new to like Nashville, but you've already had like honestly a pretty amazing amount of success through like TikTok and your music and everything like that. You grew up there and you were going to college, yes? And then you just decided COVID times, like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to go for this music thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly that. I mean, I was born and raised in Texas, and I was, um, obviously raised by my mom and dad that had been working most of their lives. When they went to the United States. So I just growing up seeing that was very much like when I got older, it was like okay, I have to do something. I have to. I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this, but like not necessarily prove myself, but like just like I have to work hard to get what I want. And for a while, I wasn't really set on any specific goal. I feel like I always had love for music, but I never pursued it. And I picked up the guitar when I was like 15 years old, and I started learning my favorite songs. And I didn't start writing songs until like 2019 or so. And at that point, I was going to college. I was going to TCC, Tarrant County College, and I was going there for graphic design, and I was taking a couple photography classes, art classes, because I was like, you know what, even if I'm not doing music, I'll be in the art realm, being behind the camera and taking people's pictures, or just doing stuff like that. But then COVID came around and everything shut down as we knew it, and I was just like, I don't want to do online classes, So I was like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do, which is focus on writing music, and so that's what I did. I have a friend. He's in Fort Worth, and we made demos of all the songs that are now out, and it was such a big learning process for me, because it was really my first time doing all of that. I really kind of just jumped into it. And that's been my whole journey coming over here. I moved down here, and I had already been traveling back and forth from Texas to Nashville. Met my now producer, and it's just been a lot of firsts, I'd say, and it's just been a crazy experience, but very, very very inspiring. Yeah, just I inspire myself.
I love that. Yeah. You're allowed to inspire yourself. I feel like people don't realize that either. Like, there are moments where you're like, yeah, that was a really cool line, or like, but I think as artists, we kind of sit back and we're like, we're not allowed to like our own stuff.
Right.
It's like, shut up, just get down, ego. Like, you're not that cool.
Exactly.
But it's true, and you have to be able to do those things for sure. And that's kind of what drives us, I think. But I think that's so cool that you just like jumped in full force, and to be honest, it's obviously paying back. But I feel like you haven't been, not in a bad way, and like you haven't been like tainted by the music industry in any way. Like, no one told you shouldn't be a certain way, because like you haven't really like maybe been through it, like the ringer of that. So you're just like, I am this person, and it's come across so authentic, because it is. And I think that that's the most amazing thing. And I just think you don't ever let anybody tell you that this is like not an amazing thing that you're doing, because it is.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, I try to kind of, be mindful of, where I go, who I work with, because I do want to build something that is, where people feel included and don't feel like, they're being taken advantage of in any type of way. So I just try to stay true to myself as much as possible. And just like growing up too, I feel like there were a lot of people that, try to place limits on me and try to, tell me who I should be or who I shouldn't be. And so part of that, when making music, is just like pushing forward, embracing who I want to be and who I'm meant to be, I guess you could say. So I'm glad that comes across that way, because
it for sure does.
It's definitely a goal of mine as I continue to learn more about making music and being in this industry.
Absolutely. So you have a ton of songs out already that are phenomenal. One being Wisteria, correct?
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what that one is about and maybe where you got the inspiration for that one?
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the first songs I wrote for this album, or this project, from my debut album, Taro. And this one, I had written it with the idea of just being under someone's spell. So the way I wrote it was just like, I wanted to feel like it's enchanting, and like, because it was about this person that I had a crush on, and then it was just like not really. Sorry, let me try to find the words.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
But like it was like such a big infatuation that it wasn't really something real, And and the song, it's like, there's this whole like kind of dark vibe to it, but it's definitely not meant to be like a pointing fingers at this person did something wrong. It was just trying to capture that vibe of like being heavily infatuated with a person, and like to the point where it's like you're in a trance.
Yeah. I think we've all been there for sure. Yeah.
And the person that suggested the title for the song, we had gone to a Claude Monet exhibit.
Oh yeah.
And one of the paintings was called Wisteria. And they were like, you should call a song Wisteria. And I was like, that's a good idea.
It's definitely like attention grabbing. Like, it's like that song was just like sucks. You're like, what is this? Right. And then the artwork for it is beautiful. Everything for your songs and your album, super. You can tell you're just like creative in all of the ways, not just in the music. Like, you're heavily like handed in every single piece of like the puzzle that comes out as a full piece of artwork. And I was talking to you, was it the Wisteria cover art, or was it Twin Souls that was the cover art where it was based off of a painting? Right,
based off of painting. It was that's the artwork for the album, but I did release it with the Twin Soul as a single. No, it was inspired by this Mexican painting. And it's like this Mesoamerican folkloric story, and it's essentially the Mesoamerican version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that painting, and it just stuck out to me so much, and I was like, that's the muse for my album.
Yeah.
And it hadn't written a single song at that point. I had it, and then
you were like, but this is it.
This is it. Yeah, exactly. And then I was just as I was making songs, I was just like always having that image in my mind.
In the back of your head. Wow, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. I need to see the original, because now like the only one in my head is the one of you and the person that was on it with you. I was like, it's so perfect though. It really is. And it's very like, the whole album is very transporting. So I think that's super cool. I remember when we were all doing like a practice, like literally just completely acoustic practice, no microphones, nothing.
Right.
And I literally like feel like I was transported somewhere, and I literally like, it was my turn to play something and you just had finished, and I was like, whoa, where did I just come back from? It was so good. But yeah, it's hard to be on stage with you, I feel like, because you play and then I forget that I'm on stage. I was literally like, whoa, I could have not been here, honestly. But it was so much fun. And I remember too, when we were on stage, that I feel like we have so many funny stories from this trip. But you got done with one of your songs. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Wisteria?
Where I was like,
so you lean in and everyone is on the absolute edge of their seat. It is a full moment. And everyone, including us on stage, thought you were going to sing one more thing. And I think you, for the moment, were just like, should I go? Should I stay? And you just go, thank you. And I think everyone was just like, what? It was so perfect. It was so good. Oh man. Another thing that I absolutely have to tell about that trip is that so we were staying in this like super had to be haunted old colonial house in Alexandria, Virginia. And I want to say there were probably like what, 7 of us, 8 of us, something like that all together.
8, I think.
I think there were 8 of us, and we were all picking rooms. And all of the rooms were so cute. But there was this one like all the way back and to the left in this house. And it was just, it was like a Harry Potter cubby, and there was like nothing on the walls, and it was like the tiniest bed. Yeah. And you were the last person that needed somewhere to sleep, and you were just like, welp. And you go back there, and we were like, oh my God, did he survive the night the next morning? Because we couldn't find you, and nobody knew where you were. And then somebody sent us a picture of just your hat on the bed. Yeah. And so it became this like crazy thing where we were like, it's the ghost of Rico Del Oro.
The ghost of Rico Del Oro.
And I really think you need to write a book or like a folklore song about this, because then we just kept taking your hat the entire trip and like leaving it places. We went to, which museum did we go to?
It was...
we went to the Air and Space Museum.
Air and Space, and then also the National...
Oh my goodness, there's the full name for it. Oh my gosh, it's like in DC. Antonio, do you know the main museum in DC? It is the Smithsonian. Wow, my mind just blanked. Yeah. We even put his hat in the Smithsonian. Oh my God. So anyways, if you're looking for the ghost of Rico Del Oro, he will be around haunting your lives with his stunning music. Absolutely. Oh my God. That was such a tangent, but I had to tell it. It's so funny.
Amazing. I that was one of my favorite parts of the trip. I was just like, we're going to go with this, you know. I actually suggested it was Connor who took that picture and sent it to y'all, because y'all were asking where's Rico?
We didn't know where you were.
Is he alive? And y'all were out like
we were like, a ghost got him.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was like, send him a picture of my hat.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh, that was so funny. Yeah, that whole trip was hysterical. But yeah, I really think that you're even in my phone as the ghost of Rico.
That's amazing. I love that.
So I think you should definitely run with that at some point.
Album number 3.
Yeah, album number
Rico Del Oro.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, so on Intune, we ask everyone 3 songs that are super nostalgic to them and why. Do you have a song in mind that you maybe grew up with and has like a really core memory for you?
Yeah. One, and this is when I was a little older, when I was in high school. And it's kind of like a completely different genre of what I do, but it's Space Song by Beach House.
I don't think I've heard that.
It's a good song. I think it's one of their most heard songs.
Okay.
Space Song. It's like I wouldn't know how to describe it, but it's very like creates such an atmosphere. But yeah, it was just like that one's very nostalgic to me, because it's like that album is all I listen to. The album's called Depression Cherry, and it was just very influential to me at the time. I think I was just listening to it all the time.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of high school and how much I didn't like high school. But I had the music to pull me through, you know?
That's good. So, that's good. Yeah. I feel like there's a fine line with like music that's nostalgic, because it can be something really happy, but it can also be something like really gut wrenching. Like, oh, you're like, that song really reminds me of not liking this thing or this heartbreak or something, but it's still like this overwhelming feeling of wanting to listen to it. Because what do people say? Something along the lines of like the devil, you know, kind of thing, right, you know, like, or like you're more comfortable with like the pain of the moment that you're comfortable in, that you're used to, versus, you know, trying to step out and maybe listen to some different new music, right, or you just keep listening to the same stuff, you know? I think a lot of the older generations end up doing that, and I really I'm curious to see in the future if I end up doing this, is just listening to the same songs from like when I was younger over and over again, instead of trying to listen to like new things coming out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, because I'm so hyper aware of it, maybe I'll start listening to new things, but I'm still not sure. Could get caught up in it.
It's a balance, I think,
Yeah.
like, you can listen, you have your little playlist of like, the old stuff that you listen to all the time, and then just kind of, sometimes I'll let the shuffle play on Spotify and they'll introduce new songs to me. I'm just like, this is cool. Yeah. And it'll just, or TikTok too. TikTok is a great place to find new music. I think I found so many new songs and artists on there, and yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. It's so funny. I feel like so many people, there's so much bad and good to be said about like the social medias and everything. But like specifically on TikTok, so many new artists are being found. Like it's awesome. That's such a cool part of it, and they're feeling like they can be 100% themselves and have that vibe, find their audience.
And it's just, there's so many, I think, bizarre cases of like people that have released music, like, well, I mean, there's been cases from even like songs from like the 80s, and then like they blow up. People again, again, or like they were just like not super known, and now they are. Yeah. And then like, artists that were kind of like, indie projects like 10 years ago, and then they're super famous now, and like they're living their dreams.
It's really opening doors.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool to be able to like have all of these independent artists too, because I always say like literally there is a space for everyone. Like if you work hard enough and you put yourself out there, there is going to be somebody who follows you and likes you. There just is, Yes. Yeah. It's such a cool thing. All right, cool. I'm gonna definitely need to listen to that song though, because I love anything atmospheric. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Song number 2 for you.
Song number 2. I'd have to go with one of the classics of that I grew up listening to because of my grandma, and it's called Hema by Vicente Fernandez. And I actually sang that one on the trip a cappella outside.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. But it's just so nostalgic for me because like I was always just kind of in proximity to the music that my grandma would play on her radio. Yeah. Or she would always sing it too. She would always sing it a cappella herself in front of so many people, like all the time. Like people would be like, sing a song, and she'll do it. It doesn't matter how many people are present.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So does she still sing?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. She sings whenever she can.
Yeah, like, that's amazing. Is she the only person that's like musical in your family, or is it like just a musical family in general?
From my mom's side, all of them love music, and actually my mom, she used to be a singer when she was like 19, 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she was actually she was doing the thing. She was going to LA to record. Yeah. And she was still living in Mexico, but they have their own scene over there, and they had gone to LA to record, and they were performing. But ultimately, she gave that up for her own spiritual reasons. She kind of just dedicated her life to her spiritual practice.
Very cool. That's awesome. I love that. It's very important, I think, too, for people to follow what their gut feelings are, too. Like, there are so many people, and it drives me absolutely mad, that are like, yeah, they really gave up. And I'm like, no, they're really happy. Like, this person who was doing, like, this amazing art just said, hey, listen, my life is going here now. Right. And that's totally fine. Yeah. And so many people, like, look at it, especially in the industry, they'll be like, oh, they gave up. They just decided. And there are people who do give up and are miserable and upset. But, like, there are so many people who just decided, this isn't for me anymore. I want to go start a family. I want to go open a business. I want to go take a different chapter and a different door in my life, right, and are so happy. Yeah. And I think that it's honestly, it's hard to do, because that's literally saying, hey, like, this is not, something that I want to do anymore. I'm going to set it down, this huge part of my life, and move forward into this other space. Yes. So I think that's awesome that she was like, no, this is not the vibe anymore. Yeah. On to the next. Life is short and long at the same time. You can have multiple, versions of your life, I think.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. I love that. Okay, song number 3.
Song number 3. Oh, okay. This is. Let me think. Um, I guess one of my big. I wouldn't say influences because his music is very different, but he just who he is as a person or was as a person was is very influential to me. Jeff Buckley. He passed away a while ago, but his music he had this debut album, Grace, and it's just a beautiful album. And this song, the first song that I heard from it was a couple of years ago. It's called So Real, and it's just like this very like it's a rock ballad, and it's like has like psychedelic influences almost in it, I'd say. And it just reminds me of like a time that was before I moved over here. It just reminds me of a different version of myself, and like I guess I kind of see myself a lot in his music. So yeah, to say that's my third pick.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. That's very cool. I loved that you said you see yourself in his music,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
because I think that's a really interesting way of putting how so many of us feel. Like if you think about, there's like a ton of artists out there that we don't know them personally,
Mhm.
but we feel such a deep connection to them, and because of the music that they're putting out, because it feels so universal, because it does feel like they're singing things that are in your life,
Mhm.
which I think is why music is so special in the first place. But
Mhm.
like the fact that you just put it like that is
Mhm.
so cool. I love
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot we can learn from the people that we see ourselves in, and it's like almost like it could kind of be like a reflection of ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, we see something that we like in someone else, like someone else's music, like that could influence us greatly in our music, even if it's not like um sonically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely
Mm-hmm.
true. Even the way that they're like moving or
Mm-hmm.
speaking and how they carry themselves is very true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's also very similar to like it works both ways. Like you can see things in people that you don't like about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly you don't like that artist, and you're
Mm-hmm.
wondering why you don't like that artist, and you're like, wow, that's a lot like me. It's very interesting, the mirror, of music for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. Oh, I feel like every single time I talk to you, we go down this like super deep rabbit hole.
We did the first time we sat down and talked, or no, it wasn't the first time, but it was the day that we left to Washington D.C. and it was like so early. It was like 7 in the morning,
Yeah.
something like that. And we just sat down and we were just like talking about AI and like its effects on us. And I was like, wow, having an existential crisis at 7 in the morning, amazing.
I hadn't had my coffee yet, and I was like asking AI a bunch of questions before I went to bed the night before, so that might have been the reason. But I enjoyed that conversation.
No, me too, me too. And I feel like it set the foundation for the rest of the trip. Yeah.
I was literally like, when you just word vomit and like sometimes you're like, wow, that person probably thinks I am crazy. Literally after that happened and you were just sitting there like, yeah, whoa. And I was like, he's going to avoid me for the rest of the trip.
Not at all. If anything, I was like, okay, we can probably like talk about some cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, like walking into things, especially at doing anything creative. You walk into these scenarios that in any other situation would be so difficult to like make new friends, or like so unbelievably uncomfortable to walk into a situation where you don't know like 8 brand new people, and you're now riding with them in a vehicle for like 10 plus hours, staying in the same place, playing a show with them, literally not leaving their side or having any space for like an extended period of time for a full weekend, and then leaving there just with like brand new friends. That is so ridiculous. And like, I just didn't see it coming at all, but it was such a good experience.
Yeah, it's magical. It's like I don't think I've had experienced something like that in a while, and and you know, like we were saying earlier, it's like, you know, all these people that are so different from us. Yeah, it was just like so inspiring, and it's good to know that, you know, we have even more people to call friends in Nashville.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I also thought it was cool that like there's a lot of people where you meet them in Nashville and you in your brain you just catalog them as like, okay, like I've met you here at this place and whatever. But I think because we technically like got to know each other not in Nashville, it felt like a different experience. I don't know how that really plays out, but it just felt like it wasn't just like another Nashville crew of people and like whatever. It was just like, these are my new friends that I sort of met in Virginia, and now we all live here in Nashville.
Yeah, totally.
But now
yeah.
we have to like get to know each other's lives in Nashville. And then like, wait, you do have a show that's here and I can go see you too. Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, only in music, man. Could you imagine being like a sheet metal worker or like a teacher or something and going on like a group
like a field trip?
Like a sheet metal field trip.
Yeah. It'd be pretty bizarre.
So funny. Yeah, that would be wild. All right. Yeah, we're just having this conversation. People are like, "What are they talking?
What are they talking about?"
Antonio is like, "I'm leaving." Oh my God. Oh Lord. We cut off the screen and you're just like not actually there. I'm talking to myself. It's just the ghost of Rico.
Just the hat.
He strikes again.
I'll just leave the hat right here.
Oh my God, so funny. Okay, so those are really good songs. I love that. I love especially the one with your grandma. That's so cool. So is your grandma in, I'm just curious, like personal question, but is your grandma like in Mexico, or is she in Texas, or?
She's in Texas.
Okay,
yeah, both
cool.
my grandmas are.
Okay.
They're in Texas, and my grandma usually lives with my parents, but sometimes she stays with other family members.
Yeah, that's cool. You have a really big family?
I'd say pretty decently sized family.
Yeah.
On both sides, both my mom and dad's side. It's nice. It's nice. Like, you know, you have like, I feel the support from both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really important. Do they ever come here to Nashville and see you like play your shows or anything yet?
So my parents have come to visit once, and then I had my uncle, aunt, and cousin. They stopped by whenever they were road tripping, and but yeah, no, I'm trying to get them to come out a little more.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's cool out here.
Yeah.
You're
like, it's cool. You should come hang out here a lot more times and
Yeah.
then maybe move. Just kidding.
Right.
I try to do that with my family too. I got my sister. That's like, actually, she was here before me, so she technically got me.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, I think it's important to have like family around and at least friend family, you know, which I think you definitely have for sure. So that's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start asking some of my wrap-up questions because they can take forever.
Okay.
We could be here all day. No, so basically, when do you feel your most authentic?
When I feel my most authentic, it's definitely when I'm on stage. I feel like that's the only right answer for me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I it's such a vulnerable time to be up on stage and, you know, sharing your stories. And, you know, there's like, I feel like that's the fullest extent of my expression, you know. I grew up feeling kind of like I didn't have a voice. And then when I started doing music, I started playing shows over here, it was like, oh wow, I do have a voice, and people listen sometimes, you know. So it's like, it's really cool. I feel like when I'm up there, it's just like I have the freedom to be whoever I need to be and to say what I need to say.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's awesome. I think that's a very cool way to put that. Yeah. All right. So when you're on stage, that is your most authentic. I feel like I'm very similar with that answer for sure. I definitely feel, I think so many people think they have like stage fright because they're so aware of how many people are watching them. But I think so many artists, like what people don't understand is that may be the only time where they feel like they have their solitude. Like when you have the lights on you, it's kind of quiet, you know, and it's just like the only time that I feel like completely at peace and just like, it doesn't matter because whatever I'm bringing to the table, that's all that I have, and I'm going to set it out there, and that's what it is. And it's almost like I forget that there are people out there sometimes because it's just serene for me.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, especially in a singer-songwriter setting, for sure. So I think that's interesting. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like you're hyper aware of people out there, or you're like kind of in your own world?
I can honestly get lost in my own world. So I get like pre-show jitters, and I get pretty nervous going, working up for a show. But after I'm up there, I feel like I just kind of get lost in my world and just kind of do it. And afterwards is just like such a big relief for me. And like, I feel, proud of myself because like I feel every time that I do it, I feel even more comfortable up there,
Yeah.
And like I said, like you could be anyone up there, anyone you need to be, and that's why I'm also like I'm always trying to do like little different things when it comes to performing.
Yeah.
Because we have that freedom, the stage right there. When you're up on stage, the stage is yours. So it's like I said, like that's like that's the purest form of like expression. Yeah,
I agree with that. And there's something so cool, like so special about realizing that people have like paid to show up there and like to see what it is that you have and what you're writing and what you're saying and how you're doing what you're doing and knowing that somebody literally like spent their hard-earned money to come and watch you and they're paying attention. That's such an honor. And I don't think a lot of artists say that enough. Like, I don't think we really like realize like how cool that is. Because a lot of the time we all are playing these shows where people aren't paying attention, and we've all done them, and they're like looking over your head at the TV screen with the sports games behind you, and they're just talking. So like when you do finally graduate into this like atmosphere of like, wow, somebody paid to come and do this, it almost feels kind of surreal.
Yes.
Because you're like, wow, these people are paying attention, they are listening. It's kind of crazy.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree. I mean, it's like one of the highest honors. So people take time out of their day, and they obviously spend money to gas to come see you. So I'm always super grateful whenever like friends and strangers pull up, and hopefully the strangers become your friends.
Absolutely. So, it's very cool. I love that. You also have the coolest merch. You have the coolest posters. So it's like straight up just like a wanted poster of your face. Yes. It's so badass.
Thank you. I just like thought of the idea one day because I was like, you know what? I don't think I've seen anyone like put up like wanted posters anymore. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, well, maybe I could do this like, to kind of, showcase myself as an artist around town. And it's been nice. I've been recognized in public from the
posters. It's so funny. I love it.
It's like I was like at my favorite deli. I like to go get food, and this guy just came up. He's like, Rico. I'm just like, what's up? And he's like, oh, you're on the posters. So I'm like, yeah, that's me.
It's so funny going about your daily life and being like, basically doing what you normally do. Like we all have like other jobs that we do in the meantime and things like that. And it's hard to sometimes like get out of your brain and focus on like the things you need to do, or vice versa, or like, hey, let me get out of work mode and go into creative mode and things like that. But it's those moments where people are like, hey, and you're thinking that they're talking to you about like something that you need to do or whatever. And they're like, you're on that wanted poster. Something totally. You never thought you would hear.
It's like both of your worlds collide.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, I highly suggest people go out and get those because they're so much fun. I'm still waiting on mine. I'm gonna hang it right here. Just kidding.
Have
But
y'all
yeah,
seen this man?
if I see that in public though here in Nashville, I'm going to immediately take a picture and send it to you.
Please do.
So
please do.
cool. So many
Yes.
people bought them too at the show. They were like, "Let's go, sign this."
I was so excited about that because and I appreciate you so much for this because we were on stage and then I brought up the wanted posters and then you said something about it and we just like had a quick banter about it and you were like $5,000 reward. And I was like, can I turn myself in? And,
It was so good.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember my mom also came to that show, and after the show, she was like, "Were you just singing harmonies in Spanish?" And I was just like, "Yeah, Rico taught me. It's fine." I sang like 3 words.
It was
But
amazing.
I was so
though.
pumped.
It was amazing. It added so much ambiance.
It was
to
so
that.
fun.
Yeah.
Anytime I can get up on a harmony, I'm right there for it. So yeah, it's a good time.
It was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so speaking of going on stage and doing harmonies and lyrics, what is a lyric that in your life you messed up? Like you thought like a song said something and it absolutely said something else.
That's kind of funny because I always I feel like that happens to me with a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just don't know what they're saying. So I just kind of make something up in my head.
Yeah.
Or if I'm singing along, I'll just like hum to it or something. But I think one of the songs would be Linger by the Cranberries.
That's such a good song.
Because I believe I don't even know what she says officially, but I believe she says I'm in so deep in the chorus. I'm in so deep, and I think I used to think that they said I'm missing you, and it's just like I don't know. It was just like a lot of moments like that whenever it comes to listening to music and. Yeah, but it's great that we have websites to tell us what.
Yeah, they didn't used to. It's so
No.
funny. I used to talk to my dad all the time because he would play so much music in the car. And we would be singing these like 80s power ballads and like just all kinds of stuff in the car. And I would sing something and he would be like, "Is that what it says? Like after all of these years, that's what that says?" And I was like, "What did you think it said?" And we would do this for like song after song because he didn't have anywhere to look it up. And now that you do, he's like, "I gotta really understand what I've been listening to," and just completely change the songs for him after all of these years of thinking that it said something else. So funny.
It's crazy how that happens too. It's just like the power of lyricism. Like,
Yeah.
it could totally change a song.
Yeah. It also shows that we're all low key, like little bit songwriters. You know what I mean? Like even people who aren't, like they're writing their own lyrics to songs that they think is something else that really matches what they need to maybe hear in the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or just something that's super funny that they thought they heard. I'm like, no, that's your rhyme. You did that. Yeah.
I'm sure you already told this story before. What was the song on the podcast? But what was the song that you mistook?
It was I thought that Livin' La Vida Loca, I thought that he said she'll shampoo you down. I was like, we're getting real clean.
That's incredible.
I was like, she is dirty. He is dirty. I think I was in like elementary school. I so did not understand.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we were just like making those dances. Me and my friends would always like go into like onto the trampoline or whatever and like blast the music and be like, "Yeah, let's make this choreographed dance." And that was one of them. And I totally thought that's what they said.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Another one is I didn't mess up the lyrics to this one, but like Mambo Number 5 was hilariously nostalgic for me for the dancing reasons. And I cannot dance. So
Mambo Number 5.
Mambo Number 5 was hysterical. And I straight up, like me and my neighbors would dance on that trampoline. And that song, every time I hear it, I'm like, I can like smell the grass. I can smell the grass burn from rolling down the hills. Like, so funny. But yeah, nostalgia, man. It's a crazy thing.
Yes,
it's a crazy drug. Yeah. Okay. So, this one stumps people sometimes, but I feel like you definitely probably have somebody in mind. Who is an artist that you think needs to be heard more, needs more notoriety?
I would say Man, that one is a tough one. I've been thinking about it this whole time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can think of like, maybe an artist like Charlie Crockett.
Okay.
He's from Texas. He's a country artist. And he's been on the rise past few years. So but I feel like that kind of music should definitely have more of a spotlight,
Yeah. What is his vibe? What is his genre?
It's like it's cool because it's obviously like country, but like also like has influence like R&B influences in there,
Cool.
and like kind of these like soulful influences as well. And he has a very unique voice, and I think we don't have like a ton of that in like the mainstream. And I'm sure there's so many people like doing similar things. He's one of the artists particularly that have inspired me, and like that just it'd be so nice to hear more of that.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah,
I
or
love that.
even in just like small little influences. Like I think it'd just be cool to see more of.
Yeah, I agree. Very cool.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to check him out for sure. I always tell people on here that it's like I ask that question because like I really want to hear new artists, but then I'll have like friends of mine call and be like, I didn't know that artist, and now they're my favorite new artist, and I'm so glad that they brought them up. It's been really cool.
That's great. Oh,
Yeah.
and if you didn't know about them, well then, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to do that.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, there's so many of us out here. Like people, I really just think people need an opportunity to get to hear about them. So the more that you can shout them in any room, the better,
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you for that. I'm so excited that you came on here. You're just like, I feel like I just had like the best conversation with a friend.
I'm glad. No, thank you for thinking of me for this.
Yeah.
It's my first time doing a little like podcast thing, so it was,
Yeah.
it's good to kind of have that experience. And,
You're a natural.
oh, thank you. Thank you. You too.
Oh,
You're a great
thanks.
host.
Oh, thank you so
Amazing
much.
host.
It didn't start out that way. I was so nervous when I did my first couple of podcasts on here, and some days I still feel kind of crazy. But when you think about what you're doing it for, and why, and people are enjoying it, and that's all that really matters to me. So, yeah, I for the longest time I always tell people I was so nervous to speak, because I was afraid I was going to say something wrong that I couldn't ever take back. And I was so scared of it, I wouldn't even speak on stage. And I would always be that person that was like, thank you, how are we doing? And that was like the only thing that I would say, because I was so nervous. Then I found out so many more artists were feeling that way. And I was like, as the older I got, I was like, I've never said like anything that really would have done what in my brain was gonna do. And I was like, I feel like there needs to be a platform where you not only hear this person sing, but you can hear a little bit about them and why they are the way that they are, and how they created the things that they did, and really just see their point of view. I think it's important because artists do have a voice that's not just in the music, and I think that's a really special thing. So
absolutely, like I feel like when you know more about the artists, you're able to kind of understand their storytelling even more, even more so, and it becomes even more meaningful.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's been a really special thing to really get to know a lot of people who are even my friends, and I come on here and I didn't even realize things about them, and it gave me an opportunity to really go on a deep dive of all these people that I respect and feel inspired by all the time, and just get to really like go into their history and find out things that I didn't realize that they did, or didn't know that they had this whole thing on TikTok like you do. And like, it's crazy because like I hang out with, everybody like so consistently, and then you go in and you're like, oh my goodness, like how cool are you? I didn't realize I was hanging out with somebody who was so cool, So it's cool. It's definitely given me so much more inspiration in my life, and it's been definitely a challenge, and I'm definitely like so blessed to have the people around me that I have that are helping me work on everything. Antonio has been honestly like such an amazing person through all of this, helping me and helping direct this whole thing, and I just appreciate him endlessly. Thanks, Antonio. So yeah, it's been a cool experience for sure. Okay, I want to ask one more question of you. It's probably the most important question. What are you up to coming up and where can we find everything that you have, and where can we go see you? Tell us all the things.
So I'm on all the platforms, music-wise, and I have my debut album that came out in September, and I'm currently working on the second album, and that one's also going to be on all platforms. My first headlining show, February 21st at the East Room, so that's going to be exciting. I have a couple of out-of-town acts that are going to be opening up the show, and also I'm hoping to play like so many more shows this year.
Yeah.
And I'm set to play Muddy Roots. It's Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
First time doing that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing right now. I'm kind of just like in recording mode. I'm always like in like the just like the mode of like planning like what I'm doing with an album and like where it's going to next. So
yeah,
really second album, I'm really looking forward to releasing that and showing it to the world.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I can't wait to hear that so much. I will be pre-saving that one. And also I cannot wait to see you just like absolutely shoot straight up, because like I can't see it any other way, to be honest. Such a unique, awesome talent. And I think definitely everybody go check out Rico Del Oro. I like hope I'm saying your name as cool as you do, but I don't think it's possible.
You do just fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, taking the time. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
It's been a fun time.
Literally anytime. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the In Tune podcast. We will see you next week.
I am forever changed.